Chapter 23. The poet who discloses a secret is beaten, and a widow looks for her husband. When Niupu fell into the lake and made such an exhibition of himself, Niu Yufu told a servant to have him sent back first in the sedan chair. Niupu returned to the temple in a very bad temper, to sit there glowering. After some time he found some dry shoes and socks to change into, but when the priest came to ask whether he'd eaten, he didn't like to admit that he hadn't, and so he said that he had and went hungry the better half of a day. Niu Yufu did not come back till late from this feast in the Wan house, but when he went upstairs he gave Niupu another talking to, and the lad dared not answer back. Then they went to sleep. The next day nothing happened, but on the day after that, Wan sent again to invite them over, and Niu Yufu ordered Niupu to look after their rooms, while he went by himself in a sedan chair. Niupu had lunch with the priest. "I'm going to Mongolia Monastery in the old city to visit another priest, Mr. Niu," said the Taoist. "You had better stay in." "I have nothing to do here," replied Niupu. "I would rather go with you." He locked his door and went with the priest to a tea house in the old city. The waiter brought them a pot of tea, a plate of sweets, and another of spiced beans. "How close is your relationship to your great uncle, Mr. Niu?" asked the priest. "We have never seen you here before." "We met on the way and found out that we belong to the same family," replied Niupu. I used to be in Magistrate Tung's Yamen in Antung County. He's a hospitable gentleman, I must say. I remember when I first went there, I no sooner presented my card when he sent two attendants out to help me from my sedan chair. I wasn't in a chair, however, but riding on a donkey, and when I wanted to alight, the attendants wouldn't let me. The two of them led my donkey straight into the pavilion, the donkey's hooves going cloppity-clop on the wooden floor. Then the magistrate opened the gate himself and came out to meet me, and we entered hand in hand. He kept me there for over 20 days, and when I said goodbye after giving my 17 taels and 45 cents of fine silver, he escorted me through the hall and saw me on my donkey. "If you do well elsewhere, so much the better," he said. "If not, come back again. There are not many men like that. I am on my way back to him now." "Gentlemen like that are certainly rare," agreed the priest. "What is the position of this Mr. Wan Hussein Chai, who is our host?" asked Niupu. "When will he become an official?" "Wan?" said the priest with a little snort. "Only your great uncle would respect the Wan family. As for officialdom, even if official caps were flying all over the sky and one fell on his head, he wouldn't be allowed to keep it." "That's strange. He doesn't come from a low-class family like a prostitute's, an actor's, or runners, or a soldier's. Why should anyone stop him from becoming an official?" "Don't you know how he started? Well, I'll tell you, but you mustn't tell anyone else. When he was a boy, he was a bond-servant in the house of Mr. Cheng, who owned the Universal Salt Shop here. He served in the library, and when he was 18 or 19, his master Cheng Min Cheng, who saw what a bright lad he was, made him a small steward." "What do you mean by small steward?" "If the salt merchants here ask a friend to negotiate for them in the salt gabble, or to see officials or customers, they pay him a few hundred taels each year and call him the great steward. And a servant who attends to minor affairs in the salt gabble or runs errands is called the small steward." Wan did very well as a small steward. He was able to put by a few taels of silver every year. He started by carrying a little merchandise only, but later he sold licenses and was able to trade on a big scale. His luck was good too. In those days, the price of a salt license was high, and when he had made 40 to 50,000 taels of silver, he brought his freedom, purchased his house, and set up in the salt business himself. He did so well that he became a millionaire. Meanwhile, Cheng Min Cheng went bankrupt and returned to Hue Chao. Nobody brought up the fact that Wan had been a bondservant. Last year, though, by spending several thousand taels of silver, Wan married his son to the daughter of a Hanlin scholar. On the wedding day there was a great fluting and drumming, and their lanterns filled half a street. It was a grand turnout. On the third day the bride's family was coming to pay a visit, and Wan had prepared a feast and operas as entertainment. But Cheng Min Cheng came early in the morning by sedan chair and sat in his hall. Wan had to kneel down to bow to his former master and pay him 10,000 taels of silver to make him go away and not expose him. While they were talking, 2 priests came out from Magnolia Monastery to invite Niupu's companion to a meal, so he said goodbye and left. After drinking a few cups of tea, Niu Pu went back to the temple. Niu Yufu was already returned and was sitting downstairs with several large parcels of silver on the table beside him, because the upstairs door was still locked. Niu Yufu told him to open the door upstairs at once and take the silver up. "Didn't I tell you to keep an eye on things?" he complained. "Why did you wander off?" "While I was standing at the gate," lied Niu Pu, "I saw the assistant magistrate from our county pass by. He got down from his chair when he saw me and insisted on taking me to his boat for a chat, because we hadn't seen each other for so long. That's why I went out." When Niu Yufu heard he had been with an official, he voiced no further disapproval, but asked, "What is his name?" "His name is Li, and he comes from Peiqi. He has heard of you. If he moves in official circles, of course he has heard of me. He says he knows Mr. Wan too. Yes, Hussein Chai has friends all over the world." Then pointing to the silver, he said, This comes from Wan Hussein Chai. His 7th concubine is ill, and the doctor says he has caught a chill, and the prescription requires a hibernating toad. Although he has offered several hundred taels of silver, he has not been able to buy one in Yangchao. And now, hearing that such toads are obtainable in Suqiao, he has given me 300 taels to get one of them here. I have no time, so I recommend you. And if you go, you can mark a few taels commission." Niu Pu dared not refuse, and that evening Niu Yufu brought a chicken and wine for a farewell dinner upstairs. "I have something to tell you, great uncle," said Niu Pu, "that I heard from your assistant magistrate, Mr. Li." "What is it?" "Though you and Mr. Wan are on good terms, you are only literary friends. He doesn't trust you with money matters. The assistant magistrate says that Mr. Wan has one real intimate friend, and that if you mention that you are on good terms with that man, he will have complete confidence in you and trust you with everything. Then not only will your fortune be made, great uncle, but even I, as your grandnephew, will be able to feather my nest." Who is this good friend of his? "Mr. Cheng Mian Cheng of Hu Chao. He has been my sworn brother for 20 years, Niu Yufu laughed. "Of course I know him. All right, I'll remember that." After drinking, they went to bed, and the next day Niu Pu took the silver and said goodbye to his great-uncle and boarded a boat for Suqiao. The following day, Wan Hussein Chai invited Niu Yufu to another meal, and he was carried there by seat and chair. At Wan's house he found 2 salt merchants, Ku and Wang, and when they had bowed to each other, the merchants declared that since they were Wan's relatives, they could not take the precedence over Niu Yufu, making him sit in the seat of honor. They drank tea and talked about the salt trade, after which a feast was spread with 2 tables each laid for 2. Wine was served, and the first dish was winter insect summerweed. "Try this dish," Wan invited him. "It's not a local thing, yet we can find plenty of it in Yangchao City. But when it comes to a hibernating toad, there's none to be had for love of money." "Haven't you got one yet?" asked Mr. Ku. "No, there aren't any in Yangchao," replied Wan. "Yesterday I asked Mr. Niu's grandnephew to go to look for one in Suqiao." "Such rarities may not be obtainable in Suqiao either," said Mr. Wang. "He may have to search for it among some of the old families in Huichao. You might find one there." "True," said Wan. "All the best things come from Huichao." "Not only the best things," added Mr. Q, "but the most able men too." This was a reminder to Niu Yufu. "There is a Mr. Cheng Ming Cheng in Huichao, Hussein Chai," he said. "Is he a friend of yours?" Wan turned red as a beetroot but did not answer. "He is my sworn brother," went on Niu Yufu. He wrote to me only the other day saying that he would probably be coming to Yangchao soon and would be sure to call on you." Wan was so angry that his hands turned icy cold and he could not utter a word. "Since ancient times," interposed Mr. Ku, "it has been said that a man may have acquaintances all over the world, but very few true friends. Let us drink today and forget about the past." At last the feast ended and they scattered. For several days, Niu Yufu heard no more from Wan. But one afternoon, when he woke up from his nap upstairs, a servant brought in a letter. "This came from Mr. Wan's house," said the man, but the messenger left without waiting for an answer. Niu Yufu opened the letter and read, "The mother of Wang Hanqi, a relative of mine in Yinchao, will soon be celebrating her 17th birthday, and would like you to write an essay for the occasion in your distinguished calligraphy. I hope you will condescend to go there immediately." When Niu Yufu had read this, he asked the servant to call a small, fast boat and set out that same evening for Yi Ching. He went ashore the next morning at Chupa and asked the way in a rice shop to Mr. Wang's house. "Do you mean the harbour master's house?" said the shop assistant. "It's the one with the new gate facing east in the Buddhist Cloud Street." Niu Yufu walked to the house and went straight in. There were 3 halls, and the chairs in the central hall were piled with congratulatory messages in gilt characters, while at a long table on the left by the window a scholar was writing with lowered head. When this man saw Niu Yufu, he put down his brush and came over. And great was Niu Yufu's dismay to see that he was wearing a yellow gown with a big grease stain in front. The scholar recognized Niu too. "You are the fellow who sat down in Grand Spectacle Tavern to eat with that panda," he said. "What are you doing here?" Niu was just beginning to abuse him when Wang Hanchue came out. "Please sit down, sir," he said to the scholar. "This has nothing to do with you." The scholar then sat down. Wang Hanchai clasped his hands in salute without bowing to Niu Chu, and took a seat. "Are you Niu Yufu?" he asked. "I am. We are a branch of Mr. Wan's salt business. Mr. Wan wrote to me yesterday saying that you are an undesirable character who makes friends with bad people, and from now on we shall dispense with your services." He produced 1 tael of silver and handed it to Niu. "I shall not detain you," he said. "Please suit yourself when you leave." "I don't want your tael of silver," shouted Niu, beside himself with anger. "Wan Hussein Chai shall hear about this." He threw the silver on a chair. "If you don't want it, I can't force you to take it," said Wang, "but I wouldn't advise you to go to Mr. Wan's house because you won't be admitted." Snorting with rage, Niu stalked out. "Excuse me if I don't see you out," said Wang, giving a casual salute as he went back inside. Niu Yufu had to take his servants to a tavern at Chopa, where he kept growling, "You dirty swine, Wan Hussein Chai." One of the waiters laughed as he went past. "Mr. Wan Hussein Chai is very easy to get on with," he said. "It's only if you mention the Cheng family that he becomes angry." Niu ordered a servant to question the waiter. When Mr. Wan used to work for Cheng Min Cheng, he was told he can't stand hearing it mentioned. "You must have said something about this." When Mr. Wan used to work for Cheng Min Cheng, he said, he can't stand hearing it mentioned. You must have said something about this to make him so angry. When the servant reported this, Niu suddenly saw the light. "So that young scoundrel cheated me," he swore. After spending the night there, he hired a boat to Suchow to look for Niu Pu. But once aboard, realizing that he was short of money, he dismissed 2 of his servants and took roughly 2 fellows with him. In Suchow, they found Niu Pu sitting in Hut Chu Pharmacy. He greeted Niu Yufu and asked, "What brings you here, great uncle?" "Have you found a hibernating toad?" asked Niu Yufu. "Not yet." They have discovered one in a family in Xinjiang. You must fetch the money at once and come with me to buy it. My boat is outside the city gate." He went with Niu Pu to fetch the silver and board the boat, but said nothing of his purpose on the way. After breakfast one day, however, when they had travelled for several days and reached a deserted stretch of land called Dragon Robe Island, Niu Yufu glared at Niu Pu. Do you know that you're going to get a beating?" he roared. Terrified, Niu Pu asked, "What have I done to offend you, great uncle? Why do you want to beat me?" "Curse you," bellowed Niu Yufu. "You played a dirty trick on me." Without stopping for an explanation, he ordered his 2 men to strip Niu Pu of all his clothes, even his cap, shoes, and socks. They trussed him up, beat him within an inch of his life, then carried him ashore, dumped him there, hoisted, and sailed off. Niu Pu lay there in a daze. They had dumped him on the edge of a cesspool so that the least move would roll him right into it. He had to lie perfectly still, suppressing his groans. Hours passed before another boat came by and stopped to let a passenger come ashore. Then Niu Pu called frantically for help. "Who are you?" asked this traveller. "Who stripped off your clothes, then tied you up and left you lying there?" "I am a scholar of Wuhu County," said Niu Pu. "Magistrate Tung of Antung asked me to go to his yamen to act as his secretary, but I met robbers on the way who took away all my clothes and luggage, leaving me only my life. Take pity on me, sir, and save me." "Are you going to Antung yamen?" demanded the other in surprise. "I come from Antung myself. Let me undo these ropes for you." Niu Puyu was stark naked and looked a terrible sight. "Wait here while I fetch you some clothes," said the man who had saved him. "Then you can come aboard." He brought him some cloth garments, a pair of shoes, and a tile-shaped cap. "This is not a scholar's cap," he said, "but you had better wear it until we come to a town where you can buy a square one." When Neopoo had put on the clothes, he knelt down to thank the other, but the traveller raised him up and helped him to the boat, where all were amazed at his story and asked his name. "My name is Niu," he said. "May I know my benefactor's name?" "My name is Huang," said the other, "and I am from Antung County too. I trade in theatrical costumes. The other day I went to Nanking to buy some additional costumes for a company, and on my way home, when I chanced upon you and was able to save you. Since you are going to the magistrate Yamen, you had better travel with me to Antung and stay with me while you prepare clothes for your visit to the Yamen." Neopoo thanked him and let Mr. Huang pay all his expenses. It was very hot, and because Neopoo had been trussed up naked for half a day and exposed to the sun, the stench of the cesspool, as soon as he was aboard, he developed scutal dysentery, and after 3 or 4 days, he was as thin as a ghost and aching in every limb from the beating. "It looks as if his end has come," whispered the passengers in the cabin. "We had better put him ashore while he is still alive. It'll be very awkward if he dies." Mr. Huang, however, would not hear of this. On the 5th day, Neopoo suddenly smelt beans. "I would like some bean broth," he said to the boatman. Everyone on the board tried to dissuade him. "I want to eat," he insisted. "I shan't blame you if I die." There was nothing they could do but send ashore for some beans. They boiled a bowl of broth for him, and when he drank it, his belly gave a great rumble, and he felt better. Crawling into the cabin, he thanked all the passengers, then lay down to sleep, and in 2 more days he gradually recovered. On reaching Antung, Neopoo put up with Mr. Huang, who brought him a square cap and some clothes and a pair of shoes. He put these on to call to the magistrate. Magistrate Tung was pleased to see him and entertained him to a feast, then invited him to stay in the Yamen. Neopoo, however, declined. "I have a relative in your honorable district," he said. It will be better if I stay with him." "Very well," replied the magistrate. "But even if you stay with your relative, I hope you will often visit me so I may receive your instructions." Then Neopoo left. "Very well," replied the magistrate. "But even if you stay with your relative, I hope you will often visit me so that I may receive your instructions." Then Neopoo left. When Mr. Huang saw that Neopoo was indeed a friend of the magistrate, he felt the greatest respect for him. Neopoo went to the Yamen every 2 or 3 days, and at the same time, on the strength of his reputation as a poet, accepted some bribes and influenced the magistrate on certain matters. Mr. Huang also gave him his 4th daughter in marriage, so he stayed on happily in Antung. Then Magistrate Tung was promoted, his successor being a certain Mr. Hisung, who was also a native of Cheking province. During the transfer, the new magistrate asked the old whether there was anything he could do for him. "There is nothing really," replied Magistrate Tung, "but I have a friend named Neopoo who is a poet, staying in your honorable county, and I should be most grateful if you would see that he is all right." When Magistrate Hisung consented, Magistrate Tung set off for the capital, accompanied for 30 miles by Neopoo, who came back only on the 3rd day. On his return, his wife told him, "Yesterday a man called and said he was your uncle from Wuhu, who happened to be passing this way. I kept him for a meal and then he left. He said he would come back in a few months' time." "I have no such uncle," thought Neopoo in surprise. "Who can it be? I shall have to wait for him to come back before I know what to do." Magistrate Tung went straight to the capital, reported his arrival, and went the next day to draw lots for his new appointment. Feng Cho-an, who had passed the metropolitan examination and whose name was now on the official list, was staying near the ministry, so Tung dropped in first to call on him. Assistant Secretary Feng invited him to sit down, and they talked on general topics. "Your friend, Neopoo was in Sweet Dew Temple in Wuhu," said Magistrate Tung. He had no time to say that he had called on Neopoo, nor that he had met him again in Antung, for at that moment a servant came in. "The time has come for distributing posts," he announced. Magistrate Tung immediately asked to be excused and went to the office to draw lots. He received the position of Magistrate of Kue Chao and hastily packed up and went to his new post without calling on Secretary Feng again. Some time after this, Secretary Feng ordered a servant to take a letter home. He also gave him 10 taels of silver and asked, "Do you know Mr. Niu Yu Pu's house?" "I do," said the man. "Then take this 10 taels of silver from Mrs. Niu. Tell her I wanted to send her word that her husband is staying in Sweet Dew Temple in Wuhu County. Don't forget. And say that this money is for her traveling expenses." The servant went home as instructed. After seeing his mistress and dealing with various family affairs, he walked to a closed wicket gate in a narrow alley. Just as he reached the gate, a boy came out carrying a basket to buy rice. When the servant told him that he had been sent to Secretary Feng in the capital, the lad showed him into the hall and then went inside. Reappearing presently. "Was there any message?" he asked. "What relation are you to Mr. Niu?" asked the servant. "She is my aunt." Then the servant handed him 10 taels of silver. My master told me to bring this silver to Mrs. Niu as traveling expenses, and to tell her that Mr. Niu is now in Sweet Dew Temple at Wuhu," he said. "He has sent you this message so that you needn't worry." The boy asked him to sit down while he took the money inside. Looking round, the servant saw that on the middle wall they had hung a single tattered old painting with the poems pasted on either side, while 6 rickety bamboo chairs were all the furniture of the room. In the courtyard next to the wicket gate was a raised flower bed on which a wisteria vine was growing. He did not have long to wait before the boy came out with a cup of tea and a package containing 2 cents of silver, which he gave to the man. "My aunt thanks you for the trouble you have taken," he said. "This is for you to buy tea. When you go back, give her regards to your mistress, and when you return to the capital, give her regards and thanks to your master, and tell him that she received the message." The servant thanked him and left. This gift of silver made Mrs. Niu sad. "He is growing old now," she thought, "yet he spends all his time away from home, and we have no children. I had better use these taels to go to Wuhu to fetch him back." Her mind made up, she locked up her ramshackle cottage and asked the neighbors to keep an eye on her. After which she and her nephew took a boat to Wuhu and found their way to Sweet Dew Temple by floating bridge. The double gate was closed, but she pushed it open and went in. There were neither incense burners nor candlesticks before the shrine, and when she went further in, she found the latticed window of the main hall was falling to pieces. An old Taoist priest was sitting in the courtyard mending his clothes, but he could only gesticulate in answer to her questions, because he was deaf and dumb. When she asked whether Niu Pu Yi lived there, he pointed to a room in front. Mrs. Niu went back with her nephew and saw that the room next to that with the shrine had not even a door. She entered and found a large coffin and a 3-legged table listing to one side. The pennon above the coffin had disappeared, only its pole remained, and because the roof had no tiles, the rain had seeped through to obliterate all the writings on the coffin, except the 2 words, Ming Dynasty. While of the characters beneath only one line was left. Mrs. Niu could not repress a shudder. She went back to ask the old priest, "Is Niu Pu Yi dead?" The priest, however, simply waved his hands and pointed outside. "He means that uncle isn't dead but has gone somewhere else," said her nephew. When Mrs. Niu left the temple, making inquiries all along the street, and everyone she questioned told her they had not heard of anyone dying in the temple. Finally, she reached Kuao Tepi shop near Good Luck Temple. "Niu Pu Yi," said Kao. "He has gone to Magistrate Tung's Yamen in Antung County." Now that she had reliable information, Mrs. Niu decided to go to Antung to look for her husband. But to know whether she reached Antung or not, you must read the chapter which follows.